Across North Florida, only a few dozen homes are still without power out of 100,000 outages on Friday. Lauren Reynolds joins us now with the story of a home destroyed in Alachua. Lauren?
Another falling tree, another house destroyed, but fortunately that family was able to escape. Unfortunately, it's a disaster for a family already facing severe hardships. I spoke to the family today about moving on. Storms ripped through north central Florida on Friday, downing trees and leaving some without power for hours. Few were hit harder than Alina Mitchell, whose Alachua home was completely destroyed when the strong winds uprooted a tree next door.
This tree came down into my room, and all that fell on me was just a little, some sheetrock pieces. Nothing hurt me. I couldn't believe I was alive.
Mitchell was taking a nap when winds started to pick up. Before she knew it, a large oak tree was in her bed next to her. The single mother has lived in the house for 25 years, raising 3 children on her own. Her daughter, Sita, says her main concern in this trying time is her mother's health.
She has a really rare form of endometrial cancer called clear cell carcinoma. She's been being treated at Shands for the past several months.
Sita remembers growing up in that house and says the goodbye has been hard for her.
As I was cleaning things up and moving debris, all these memories were coming back. Like, that's where I used to hide my secret special toys, and that's the place in the yard where we would put the swing, and there was my trampoline, and all of these memories have come flooding back to me now.
Mitchell says the community in Alachua has been a tremendous help. Strangers and friends alike have made time to help the Mitchell family get back on their feet, but they're still unsure about the future.
I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know where I'm going to live. I would like to find somewhere to live as soon as possible, of course.
For now, they're boxing up their old memories and saving as many as they can. At GoFundMe, just search Alachua and you'll find cancer fighter loses home unexpectedly. There's a $10,000 goal and the total is now just over $2,700.
Gilchrist County is remembering 2 deputies murdered a year ago. Community members gathered Friday evening to mark the anniversary. WFT's Hazley Pittman attended the memorial service and joins us now from the newsroom.
I spoke with Gilchrist County Sheriff Bobby Schultz. He said while no life is more important than another, losing a first responder lingers with everyone on staff because every day you are reminded while on call.
As for the favor.
1 year after they were murdered while taking a restaurant break, Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay are far from forgotten. Gilchrist community members gathered Friday evening to honor their memories.
Being deputy sheriffs didn't define either one of those guys. They were truly good character men, men of integrity, God-fearing. They would give you the shirt off their back.
While residents mourn the loss of 2 honorable men, the tragedy has brought them closer together through the term Gilchrist Strong.
It kind of gave us an awakening, like, it's hard to explain because, you know, we were close-knit and everything, but it gave us just a little bit more of an understanding that we need to value each other's life a little bit more.
In the FDLE report on the case, the shooter's motive involved hatred for law enforcement. But Sheriff Schultz says people need to consider rewriting this narrative.
There's bad people in every profession, but don't hold all of us responsible for the things that go on in another part of the country. and help us. Be part of the solution, don't be part of the problem.
It happens all around the world. A lot of times we don't see it.
Despite the tragic event, community members are fighting to keep a legacy alive for Ramirez and Lindsay.
There's been fundraisers, there's been prayer vigils, you name it. It goes on, and it's been continuous for one whole year. And I got a feeling it'll continue on as far as it's appropriate.
Ramirez and Lindsay will be honored at the Florida Fraternal Order of Police Memorial in Tallahassee. That service is next week. They will also be honored in Washington, D.C. in May. Reporting live from the newsroom, Hazley Pittman, WUFT News.
Thank you, Hazley. Well, Chris, we've had some beautiful weather today, especially for Earth Day.
That's right, JT, and we actually have some helpful hints for you on this Earth Day. WUFT's Nicolette Zangara joins us now from the Weather Center. Nicolette?
That's right, Chris. April 22nd marks Earth Day, a day that we can actually appreciate the earth that we live on. And we've grown up with a couple of easy words to remember, like reduce, reuse, and recycle. But I've highlighted a couple of easy, helpful tips to make that a reality. One of them is to reuse reusable items like water bottles, reusable straws, and bags at the grocery store. You can also reduce your carbon footprint by biking, walking, or carpooling to work. And with all this nice weather, it's not hard to do in North Central Florida. A third tip I have here is to use efficient light bulbs like LFCs or LEDs to make not only your carbon footprint smaller, but also your energy bill. You can find more hints like this at www.earthday.org/earthdaytips. Back to you.
Thank you, Nicolette. Deputies were at schools today throughout Alachua County, but there is no need to worry. This week is Task Force Operation School Zone Safety. To improve the safety of school children, deputies will be educating drivers on and enforcing laws related to speeding in school zones and passing buses. Deputies also want to make sure students know how to follow pedestrian and bicycle rules.
Don't be alarmed if you hear loud booms in parts of Marion, Volusia, and Lake counties. The U.S. Navy is dropping live bombs this week. The Naval Air Station in Jacksonville is conducting live bomb training at Pine Castle Range Complex in Ocala National Forest. Bombs are scheduled to drop each day through Thursday. The explosions and loud noises may push wildlife out of the forest and onto nearby roads.
With the redacted Mueller report now public, talks of impeachment are surrounding Washington. But President Trump says he is not even a little bit worried. NBC's Blaine Alexander has more.
A sunny day at the annual White House Easter egg roll. And President Trump displaying a bright outlook despite renewed talk of impeachment among Democrats after the release of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's redacted Russia report.
Are you worried about impeachment, Mr. President?
The president tweeting, "Only high crimes and misdemeanors can lead to impeachment. There were no crimes by me, so you can't impeach." And pushing back on some of the report's findings that painted him in an unflattering light.
Are you worried that your staff is ignoring your orders as the Mueller report portrays?
Democrats divided on impeachment, some pointing to Mueller's findings around the issue of obstruction of justice.
If proven, some of this would be impeachable, yes.
All right.
Obstruction of justice, if proven, would be impeachable.
But others more cautious. House Democrats out on recess, huddling tonight on a conference call to discuss the Mueller report. It comes as Attorney General William Barr has made a different version of the report available with fewer redactions for 12 top lawmakers in both parties. But Democrats not going to view it, instead holding out for the full, unredacted report. Republicans slamming that as playing politics.
I do encourage my colleagues, the Democrats, who have asked for transparency, who have asked for access, to actually come here and do so.
House Democrats not slowing their push to investigate President Trump, despite a new legal challenge from the president's lawyers, suing to block a subpoena from the House Oversight Committee for years of financial records from the president's businesses. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
The president's attorney says they will not allow congressional presidential harassment to go unanswered.
Experts are warning against videos being posted to Facebook talking about dangerous caterpillars. They say the ones being posted aren't truly even a threat. A video posted to a community group shows a tussock moth caterpillar. It's captioned with a warning to residents and comments from people fretting over the fuzzy creature. A University of Florida researcher says this species really isn't dangerous though. At worst, it can leave you with a mild rash. They say if there's anything to be worried about, it's the puss caterpillar. Its tiny fuzzy monster is one of the most venomous caterpillars in the United States, particularly in Florida. In fact, a teen was sickened back in 2018 and had to be hospitalized from a simple touch. The main difference, the hairs the tussock moth has compared to the pus caterpillars.
Are all pretty hairy, and a few of the species like this one can cause some minor irritation.
Bottom line, if you're worried about either of these species, just avoid them altogether.
Coming up on WFT News First at 5, how to keep you and your pet safe during alligator mating season.
Plus, it was a big weekend for music fans across genres. Who performed and how many showed up? These stories and more coming up after the break.
I have your full forecast coming up and the reason why humidity will be on the rise by the end of the week. I'll have more after the break.